friends, how are you? Welcome back to Change Your Life. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of US state quarter dollars, where ordinary-looking coins can sometimes hide extraordinary stories and surprising value. We'll explore three coins, 1999p, 2001p, and 2002d, and look at their history, mint marks, condition, unusual colors, and potential errors that collectors watch for. So before you spend that old quarter, take a closer look. You might be holding a coin worth far more than its 25-cent face value. Let's start with our first coin. RAREST coin. Welcome back to Change Your Life. Today, we're going deep into one of the most exciting coins from the beginning of the American state quarters era, the 1999p state quarter. This is a coin that millions of people may have handled without ever realizing what collectors are actually looking for. But let's make one thing very clear from the beginning. A normal 1999p state quarter is not automatically worth thousands or millions of dollars, and it is not a silver coin simply because it is old or has an unusual color. The real excitement comes from the coin's history, condition, varieties, and especially genuine mint errors. So if you have a 1999p quarter sitting in an old collection, a jar, a drawer, or even your pocket, don't rush to spend it until you know exactly what you have. The story begins in 1999, when the United States entered a completely new chapter in circulating coinage. The state quarters program was designed to celebrate the 50 states, with different reverse designs representing individual states. The first 5 state designs released in 1999 were Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, and Connecticut. The program created enormous public interest in collecting coins directly from everyday change, because suddenly a quarter was no longer just 25 cents. It could also represent American history, geography, and state identity. Now let's focus on the P mint mark. The letter P indicates that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. That tiny letter may look insignificant, but for collectors, it is an important part of identifying where a coin was produced. However, the P mint mark by itself does not make every 1999p quarter rare. This is one of the biggest mistakes new collectors make. They see an old date and a mint mark, and immediately assume the coin must be worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars. In reality, value depends on much more than the date and mint mark. And here is where the story becomes much more interesting. The 1999p state quarter was produced as a circulating clad coin, not as a regular silver quarter. So if someone tells you that every 1999p state quarter is a rare silver coin worth millions, be extremely careful. Genuine silver versions of 1999 state quarters were produced as special collector proofs with an S-mint mark, not ordinary P-mint circulation strikes. The ordinary 1999p quarter should therefore be evaluated as a clad coin, unless there is evidence of something unusual. So what should you look for? Start with the overall condition. A quarter that has spent years circulating through thousands of hands can develop scratches, stains, discoloration, dull surfaces, edge damage, and other marks. A dirty or dark-looking coin can be interesting, but dirt alone does not make a coin valuable. In fact, cleaning a potentially collectible coin can reduce its desirability because collectors generally prefer original surfaces. If your 1999p quarter looks unusual, resist the temptation to polish it, scrub it, or use chemicals on it. Leave the surface alone until the coin has been properly identified. Now turn the coin over and examine the reverse carefully. Depending on which 1999 state design you have, you may be looking at Delaware's famous rider and horse, Pennsylvania's state imagery, New Jersey's historic scene, Georgia's state emblem, or Connecticut's charter oak. Each design tells a different story about American history. This is one reason the 1999 quarters became so popular. Collectors were not simply collecting metal, they were collecting pieces of the history of the United States. But now comes the part that can make collectors really pay attention: mint errors and varieties. A genuine mint error can sometimes make an ordinary-looking quarter significantly more desirable. On 1999p state quarters, collectors may encounter things such as die cracks, die chips, struck-through errors, off-center strikes, missing or incomplete clad layers, and other unusual production mistakes. Some 1999p Delaware quarters are especially famous among collectors for the so-called spitting horse die crack variety, where a die crack creates a distinctive line extending from the horse's mouth area. Examples of 1999p state quarter errors and varieties are actively offered in the marketplace, but asking prices are not the same thing as confirmed selling prices. That distinction is extremely important when we talk about today's value. You may see an internet listing claiming that a 1999p quarter is worth $10,000, $50,000, or even millions of dollars, but an asking price does not prove that somebody actually paid that amount. A coin's real market value depends on its authenticity, exact variety, grade, eye appeal, rarity, and what collectors are actually willing to pay. Some unusual 1999 state quarter-era examples currently appear in marketplace listings for amounts ranging from a few dollars to hundreds or more, while dramatic certified errors can be listed much higher. So what is your normal 1999 state quarter worth today? In many circulated examples, the answer is simple: about face value, 25 cents. A nicer uncirculated example can bring more than face value, depending on condition and demand. A certified high-grade coin or a genuine major mint error can be worth substantially more. The key point is that there is no single value for every 1999 quarter. Two coins with the exact same year and mint mark can have dramatically different values, because one may be heavily worn, while the other is exceptionally preserved or contains a genuine minting error. Now imagine finding a quarter with an unusual color. Maybe it looks golden, reddish, brown, dark, almost black, or strangely bright. Does that automatically mean it is rare? Absolutely not. Color can result from environmental exposure, chemical reactions, storage conditions, tunning, or other causes. Sometimes an unusual appearance deserves further investigation, but color alone is not proof of a valuable mint error. Collectors want to know why the coin looks different and whether the unusual characteristic occurred during the minting process. Another important clue is weight. If you suspect that a quarter has a missing clad layer or another unusual planchet-related error, comparing its weight with the expected specification can provide useful information. But a home scale cannot prove an error by itself. Damage, wear, dirt, corrosion, or alterations can also affect what you see and measure. For a truly valuable-looking coin, professional examination and certification can be much safer than trusting a random online claim. And this brings us to the biggest warning of today's video: do not clean the coin. If you find an old 1999 quarter with dark surfaces, strange colors, fingerprints, or dirt, leave it exactly as you found it. Scrubbing, polishing, dipping, sanding, or using household chemicals can permanently damage the original surface. What looks like dirt to one person could actually be natural tunning or evidence that helps a professional understand the coin's history. There is also an important difference between a coin being rare and a coin being valuable. A coin can be uncommon but still have limited demand. Another coin may have a dramatic mint error that collectors strongly desire. The combination of genuine rarity, strong collector demand, exceptional condition, and authentication is what can push a coin's value much higher. So could a 1999 state quarter make you a millionaire overnight? For an ordinary example, no. Claims that a normal 1999 state quarter is automatically worth millions are not supported by the typical market evidence. But could a remarkable mint error or exceptionally rare certified example be worth far more than face value? Yes, that is where the real treasure hunting story begins. The exciting part is not believing every unbelievable price you see online. The exciting part is learning how to recognize the difference between an ordinary quarter and a genuinely unusual one. If you have a 1999 quarter, take a close look at the date, the P mint mark, the state design, the lettering, the rims, the surfaces, and especially anything that appears to be a genuine mint-made error. Compare it with a normal example of the same coin. Look for unusual doubling, die cracks, missing material, off-center striking, strange planchet characteristics, or other features that cannot easily be explained by circulation damage. And remember, collectors and investors do not simply buy a story, they buy the coin. Authentication, condition, rarity, provenance, and documented market history matter. If you believe you have a major error, professional grading and authentication can help determine whether the feature is genuine or simply damage that happened after the coin left the mint. So the next time you see a 1999 state quarter, don't automatically throw it into a spending pile, but don't automatically call it a $1 million treasure either. Look closely, learn the history, protect the surfaces, and understand what makes a coin genuinely collectible. That tiny quarter may be worth only 25 cents, or it could contain a fascinating minting mistake that collectors would love to investigate. This is what makes coin collecting so exciting. Sometimes the greatest discoveries are hiding in the most ordinary places. A coin that looks dirty, dark, scratched, or forgotten can still tell an incredible story, but the real value comes from what the coin actually is, not from an exaggerated internet price. So before you spend your 1999 state quarter, take one more look. Check that mint mark, study the design, examine the surfaces, look for genuine errors, and most importantly, never clean it. Because when it comes to rare coins, knowledge is worth far more than hype, and the right discovery can turn an ordinary pocket change moment into an unforgettable piece of American coin history. Next up. Second coin. Welcome back to Change Your Life. Today we are moving to the second coin in our search for remarkable American state quarters. the 2001p state quarter. If you have one of these coins sitting in an old jar, collection, drawer, or pocket, do not throw it away just because it looks dirty, dark, scratched, or ordinary. But at the same time, don't believe every internet claim that says a normal 2001p quarter is automatically worth millions. The real story is much more fascinating, because the value of this coin depends on its exact state, design, condition, minting characteristics, and whether it contains a genuine error or unusual variety. The year 2001 was an important period in the history of the United States State Quarters program. 5 different states were represented that year: New York, North Carolina, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Kentucky. Millions of Americans suddenly became interested in checking their pocket change because every new quarter carried a different state design. This turned everyday spending money into something people wanted to save, examine, and collect. The program became one of the biggest introductions to coin collecting for ordinary Americans. Now look closely at your coin. If you see the letter P on the Washington side, that mint mark tells you the quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. But here is something extremely important. The P mint mark does not mean the coin is silver. Regular 2001p state quarters were made from copper-nickel-clad metal. The special 90% silver collector versions were struck at San Francisco and carry an S mint mark. So if somebody tells you that every 2001p quarter is a silver coin worth thousands or millions, don't accept that claim without checking the coin carefully. This distinction matters because the word silver can make a coin sound much more valuable than it really is. A normal 2001p quarter is a circulating clad coin. Its starting value is generally its 25-cent face value when circulated. However, the story changes when we discover exceptional condition, a recognized variety, or a genuine mint error. Some high-grade 2001p state quarters have sold for dramatically more than face value, showing why serious collectors examine conditions so carefully. Recent market references document exceptional 2001p examples reaching hundreds, or in unusual cases, thousands of dollars. So let's imagine you find a 2001p quarter that looks almost untouched. The details are sharp, Washington's hair is clear, the lettering is strong, the rims are clean. The state design has very little evidence of contact with other coins. That coin could be much more interesting than a heavily circulated example. Why? Because high-grade state quarters can become condition rarities. Millions were produced, but finding examples that survive with extremely clean surfaces and very high certified grades can be much harder, and this is where the market can become surprising. A circulated 2001p quarter may be worth only its face value, while a superbly preserved example can be worth considerably more. Some market references list ordinary uncirculated coins at only a few dollars, while exceptional certified specimens can reach hundreds or even thousands, depending on the particular state design and grade. One reported 2001p North Carolina example graded MS64 reached a remarkable auction price, demonstrating how unusual circumstances and collector competition can dramatically change a coin's market result. But condition is only one part of the story. The next thing you should examine is the possibility of a mint error. A true mint error is something that happened during the manufacturing process at the mint, not damage that happened after the coin entered circulation. This difference can be worth a lot of money. One of the most exciting possibilities is a missing clad layer. A normal clad quarter has layers of metal bonded together. If one of those outer layers is missing because of a genuine production problem, the exposed copper can give the coin a very different reddish or copper-colored appearance. That can look shocking when compared with a normal quarter. Genuine missing clad layer errors can bring substantial premiums, especially when the error is dramatic and professionally authenticated. But be careful, this is where inexperienced collectors can make a major mistake. A quarter that is simply dirty, chemically discolored, corroded, or damaged is not automatically a missing clad layer error. Environmental damage can create strange colors too. The surface of a genuine mint error should make sense as part of the manufacturing process. If you see an unusual reddish or golden color, don't immediately celebrate. Investigate first. Another fascinating possibility is an off-center strike. This happens when the blank planchet is not positioned correctly between the dies during striking. Instead of getting a perfectly centered design, part of the coin may have an obvious blank area while the design is pushed toward one side. Dramatic off-center errors can attract collectors, particularly when the date and mint mark remain visible. You should also watch for unusual die characteristics, doubled designs, die breaks, cuds, broad strikes, and struck-through errors. But once again, not every mark is a mint error. A scratch across the surface, a dent around the rim, or a flattened letter caused by circulation is usually damage, not a valuable error. The challenge for a collector is learning to separate a genuine manufacturing mistake from something that happened years later. Now let's talk about the different colors people sometimes find on these coins. Maybe your 2001p quarter is dark brown. Maybe it has a reddish tone. Maybe one side looks brighter than the other. Maybe it appears golden or strangely grey. These appearances can certainly make a coin interesting, but color by itself does not establish rarity. Natural tunning, environmental exposure, storage conditions, chemical reactions, and post-mint damage can all affect a coin's appearance. And please remember this warning: never clean a potentially valuable coin. If your 2001p quarter is dirty, leave it alone. Do not scrub it with a cloth, do not polish it, do not use household chemicals, do not try to make it shine. A collector would much rather examine an original surface than a coin that has been permanently altered. Cleaning can destroy the very characteristics that might have helped establish its collectible value. Now, what about the idea that a 2001p state quarter could be worth millions of dollars today? This is where we need to separate excitement from reality. A normal 2001p state quarter is not a $1 million coin. The vast majority are worth face value when circulated. Even valuable high-grade and error examples generally fall far below millionaire territory. Claims of enormous values should always be checked against documented sales rather than online asking prices. A seller can list a coin for almost any amount, but that does not mean a buyer actually paid it. The fascinating truth is that some 2001p quarters really can be worth far more than 25 cents. The difference is usually hidden in the details. A spectacular error, an exceptionally high grade, a recognized variety, or an unusual authenticated piece can transform a common-looking quarter into a serious collector item. That is why collectors inspect these coins instead of simply judging them by their age. Think about that for a moment. Your coin could have traveled through banks, cash registers, vending machines, restaurants, stores, and countless hands. It may have spent years circulating through America before finally ending up in your collection. Every scratch and mark tells part of its journey. And if the coin escaped circulation and remained in remarkable condition, that preservation itself can become part of its value story. The 5 2001 designs also give collectors another reason to search. New York features an important symbol of American independence. North Carolina celebrates the Wright brothers and their historic achievement. Rhode Island highlights a famous sailing scene. Vermont presents the state's natural and agricultural identity, and Kentucky features historic imagery connected with the state. Each quarter is essentially a tiny piece of American history. So if you have a 2001p New York, North Carolina, Rhode Island, Vermont, or Kentucky quarter, take a second look. Check the date, check the P mint mark, study both sides, examine the rim and edge, look for unusual missing metal, dramatic off-center striking, genuine doubling, die breaks, or other manufacturing characteristics. And if something looks truly unusual, don't damage it while trying to investigate it. For an ordinary circulated 2001p quarter, the realistic answer is usually 25 cents. Better uncirculated examples can bring more, while exceptional certified specimens and genuine errors can bring substantially higher prices. Current market references show that condition and error status can create enormous differences between otherwise similar coins, so is your 2001p state quarter secretly worth a fortune? Maybe not $1 million, but it could still be much more interesting than the average quarter in your pocket. And that is the real magic of coin collecting. You don't need to believe every sensational headline. You need to know what to look for. Before you spend that 2001p quarter, inspect it carefully. Don't clean it, don't scratch it, don't polish it, don't assume that a strange color means silver, and don't assume that every high online asking price is a real market value. Learn the history, identify the state design, understand the mint mark, examine the condition, and search for genuine mint-made errors. Because sometimes the difference between 25 cents and a valuable collector coin is hidden in one tiny detail. And that is exactly why the 2001p state quarter deserves a much closer look. Next up. Tired and Fanel coin, welcome back to Change Your Life. Today we have reached the final coin in our search for fascinating state quarters, the 2002D state quarter. This little quarter may look completely ordinary, especially if it is dirty, dark, scratched, or discolored, but there is a much bigger story behind it. The year 2002 brought 5 new state quarter designs honoring Tennessee, Ohio, Louisiana, Indiana, and Mississippi. More than 3 billion 2002 business strike state quarters were produced, so most examples are common. But hidden among those millions are coins with unusual conditions, varieties, and genuine mint errors that collectors may pay considerably more to own. Now let's talk about that tiny D mint mark. The D tells us that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. This is important because 2002 state quarters were produced at different facilities and in different versions. The regular P and D coins were made for circulation, while special collector versions were struck at San Francisco. So if your coin says 2002D, it is not automatically a silver quarter. In fact, the regular 2002D state quarter is a copper-nickel-clad circulating coin. The genuine 90% silver 2002 state quarters were special proof issues carrying the S Mint mark, and were included in the US Mint silver proof set. That one detail destroys one of the biggest myths surrounding modern state quarters. A 2002 D quarter is not automatically a silver coin worth thousands or millions of dollars. If someone tells you that every 2002 D quarter is $1 million silver coin, stop and examine the evidence. The normal coin is worth its face value in circulated condition. Its potential value comes from something unusual, such as exceptional preservation, a recognized variety, or a genuine mint error. So why should you still look carefully at this coin? Because the 2002 State Quarter series has several interesting errors and varieties. Collectors have documented unusual examples involving doubled dies, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, die cracks, and other production mistakes. Some of these can carry meaningful premiums, especially when the error is dramatic and authentic. Current guides report that major 2002 State Quarter errors can reach hundreds of dollars or more, while the ordinary circulated examples remain close to face value. Imagine finding a 2002 D quarter where the design is clearly shifted toward one side, leaving a noticeable blank crescent around the opposite edge. That could be an off-center strike. The more dramatic and clearly mint-made the error is, the more interesting it can become to collectors. But you have to be careful because damage after the coin left the mint can create shapes that look unusual. A bent, cut, scraped, or damaged coin is not the same thing as a genuine mint error. Another exciting possibility is a missing clad layer. A normal clad quarter has layers of metal bonded together. If a layer is missing because of a production problem, the coin can have a dramatically different appearance, sometimes showing much more copper-colored metal than expected. That reddish or copper appearance can make the coin look like a completely different type of quarter. But once again, color alone is not proof. A chemically damaged or environmentally discolored coin can look similar. A genuine error needs proper examination and, for an important specimen, professional authentication. And now let's talk about the strange colors you may see on an old 2002 D quarter. Maybe yours looks brown, maybe it is reddish, maybe one side is darker than the other, maybe the entire surface looks golden, gray, black, or unusually bright. This can certainly make the coin interesting, but unusual color does not automatically mean rare silver. Environmental exposure, storage conditions, chemical reactions, tunning, and circulation damage can all change a coin's appearance. This is why you should never clean the coin. If you discover a dirty 2002 D State quarter, leave it exactly as you found it. Do not polish it until it shines. Do not scrub the surface. Do not use household chemicals. Do not try to remove dark areas with abrasive materials. Original surfaces are important to collectors, and cleaning can permanently damage the coin and potentially reduce its value. Now look at the reverse design. Your 2002 D quarter could represent Tennessee, Ohio, Louisiana, Indiana, or Mississippi. Tennessee celebrates the state's musical heritage. Ohio honors its connection with aviation and space history. Louisiana highlights its unique culture and musical heritage. Indiana celebrates its identity as the crossroads of America. Mississippi features the magnolia, one of the state's most recognizable symbols. These designs transformed ordinary pocket change into tiny pieces of American history. The state quarter program itself became a cultural phenomenon. Instead of collecting only old coins, millions of people began saving modern quarters. Children started collections. Families searched their change. Banks received rolls of new designs. People began learning about states they might never have visited. The 2002 D quarter, therefore, represents more than metal. It represents a period when American coin collecting became part of everyday life. But now comes the question everyone wants answered. What is a 2002 D State quarter worth today? For a normal circulated example, the realistic answer is generally 25 cents. That may sound disappointing, but it is actually important information because it keeps us away from exaggerated claims. An ordinary coin with ordinary wear is not suddenly worth millions simply because it is from 2002. Uncirculated coins can bring a premium, and exceptional certified grades can become much more valuable. Major mint errors can be worth substantially more depending on their rarity, appearance, authenticity, and collector demand. Current market guides show that exceptional 2002 examples can reach hundreds or even thousands in certain circumstances, but those are extraordinary coins, not normal pocket change. There is also a huge difference between a listed price and a real selling price. You may see someone online asking $10,000, $100,000, or even $1 million for a quarter. That does not mean the coin is worth that amount. Anyone can post an unrealistic asking price. Serious collectors look for documented transactions, auction results, certification, and comparable examples. If you want to understand the real market, focus on what comparable coins actually sell for rather than the most sensational number appearing in an online listing. And here is another important clue. Condition matters enormously. A quarter that spent 20 years circulating may have scratches, contact marks, worn lettering, and dull surfaces. Another example from the same year and mint may have been protected almost immediately after production, if the second coin survives in an exceptional grade. Collectors may compete strongly for it. That is why professional grading can sometimes make a major difference for genuinely high-quality specimens. You should also inspect the date and mint mark carefully. On a 2002 D quarter, confirm that the date really reads 2002 and that the mint mark is actually D. Examine the lettering, Washington's portrait, the rim, and the reverse design. Look for genuine doubling rather than simple machine doubling. Look for raised die cracks rather than scratches. Look for an authentic off-center strike rather than damage. Look for unusual metal characteristics rather than staining. One particularly interesting area in the 2002 series involves double die varieties. Genuine doubled dies are created during the die-making process and can show recognizable separation or doubling in specific design elements, but not every apparent doubling is valuable. Machine doubling can create flat, shelf-like secondary images that may look impressive to an inexperienced collector, but usually do not carry the same premium as a genuine doubled die. So if your 2002 D quarter appears to have doubled lettering, don't immediately declare yourself rich. Get a magnifying glass, compare the coin with normal examples, and study the shape and position of the suspected doubling. If the feature appears significant, professional attribution can be the safest next step. And what about silver? Let's make this absolutely clear. The United States Mint did produce 90% silver-proof versions of the 2002 state quarters, but these were collector coins from San Francisco and carry the S Mint mark. The U.S. Mint specifically described the 2002 silver-proof, set as containing 90% silver versions of the 2002 state quarters. So if you have a normal 2002 D quarter from circulation, do not assume it is silver. This is actually what makes the search so exciting. You are not simply looking for an old quarter. You are looking for a quarter that breaks the normal rules. Maybe it has a dramatic mint error. Maybe it has an exceptionally high grade. Maybe it has a recognized variety. Maybe it is an unusual wrong planchet or major striking error. Those are the kinds of discoveries that make experienced collectors stop and take a second look. Could a 2002 D state quarter make you a billionaire overnight? No. There is no credible basis for claiming that an ordinary 2002 D state quarter is worth millions or can make someone a billionaire. But could a remarkable error be worth far more than its 25-cent face value? Absolutely. That is the realistic treasure hunting story. So before you spend your 2002 D state quarter, slow down, hold it under good light. Check the date, check the D mint mark, examine both sides, study the edge, look at the color, search for genuine mint-made characteristics. And if the coin looks truly unusual, protect it and have it evaluated instead of cleaning or altering it. Remember, a dirty coin is not automatically a rare coin, a dark coin is not automatically silver, and a high internet asking price is not automatically market value. The real value comes from authentication, rarity, condition, collector demand, and documented market evidence. The 2002 D state quarter may have started its life as ordinary pocket change, but today it can still be a fascinating piece of American history. Most examples are common, but the right error or exceptional specimen can become a serious collector coin. And that is why every time you receive a quarter in change, it can be worth taking one extra second to look, because sometimes the most exciting discovery is not hiding in a museum or an expensive collection. Sometimes it is sitting quietly in a drawer, an old jar, or the bottom of your pocket. So don't clean it, don't spend it blindly, and don't believe the hype. Learn what you actually have. See you in the next video.